Example number 4, we're going to be adding or subtracting and simplifying our answers. So in this particular example, we are subtracting these rational expressions. So we have 4 over 3d minus 2d over 2d to the third. So what we're first going to do is we're going to notice that we do not have common denominators here like we've had in the previous examples. So we need to find our common denominator. So we're going to identify the least common denominator. And the first step is we're going to break apart our 3d, which is 3 times d. We'll break apart 2d to the third, which is 2 times d times d times d. So what is my least common denominator, or we think of least common multiple? We take 2 times 3 times d times d times d, which our least common denominator is going to be 6d to the third. So then our next step is we are going to multiply these denominators by a situation that would give us my least common denominator. So 3d times 2d squared is going to give me my 6d to the third. So we, similar like when we're adding and subtracting fractions, with this we're going to multiply by 2d squared for the numerator and denominator to get that 6d to the third. So that would be the first set, and then the second set we have 2d to the third, so we're going to multiply the numerator and denominator by 3. So now that I've done that, I'm then going to multiply this out. So 4 times 2d to the second gives me 8d to the second over my common denominator, which is 6d to the third, minus, now 2d times 3 is going to give me 6d over 6d to the third. We're now going to, now that we have our common denominators, our fourth step is we're going to now subtract. So as I was mentioning, we're going to subtract our numerators, having our common denominators. So we can't necessarily subtract 8d squared minus 6d, so we're going to leave the numerator as 8d squared minus 6d over that common denominator, 6d to the third. And then what we're going to do is we're going to look and see if we can factor anything out and then divide common factors. So is there something in common we can factor out here with my numerator? And we can factor out here 2d. So then we're going to get, in parentheses, 4 minus 3, 4d minus 3 over my 6d to the third. And then we're going to determine if we can simplify this down from there. Well, we can't simplify anything in the parentheses with that 4d minus 3, but we can simplify my 2d over 6d to the third. 2 and 6, we can simplify that down to 1/3. And then we have d to the first and d to the third. Remember, with d to the first, d to the third, with exponent rules way back in chapter 7, we can subtract our exponents. So what you end up with here is d to the negative second power, and then your parentheses of that 4d minus 3. Now remember, you can't have a negative, exponent. So when you have that negative exponent, you bring it down to the denominator here. So what I have is now 1 times 4d minus 3 over 3 times d squared. And when I rewrite this out, I'm just going to rewrite it without having the 1 in front. So technically my final answer is going to be 4d minus 3 over 3d squared. And that'll be my final answer when subtracting this rational expression.